Hi guys, welcome back to Devastrology. Today we are doing the monthly reading for the sign of Sagittarius, and in this reading you can watch this both from a rising and ascendant or from Sagittarius moon perspective as well. Now, of course, when you watch this video from a moon side perspective, you have to understand that the reading is going to be inclined more towards the emotional, mental manifestations, significances of what you're going to observe in the course of this month. Whilst from a Lagna and rising perspective, you are going to see this more from a physical manifestation, the significances that are going to realize in life for you. I hope you get clarity from that. And let's go ahead and deep dive as to what are the planets saying about Sagittarius in the month of March. So, Sagittarius, as you guys can see on your screen here, you have your Lord sitting in your sixth house, and he's forming an exchange with Venus, which is got into retrogression in your fourth house itself. Now, of course, it is sitting with a retrograde Rahu, which is always in retrogression, by the way. But this is interesting because your fourth house now will have multiple retrograde planets. Mercury is also placed there. It is currently in debilitation with its niche bhanga coming into play thanks to the exaltation of Venus. But this Mercury will also get retrograded in the second half of the month from March 14th onwards. But before we jump there, let's try and understand what's happening phase by phase. First of all, this is a period where you are going to realize that with the Lord, Ascendant Lord, as well as Lord of the fourth house coming into the sixth, somewhere or the other, your energy, your focus, your mental and emotional balance is also going to address a lot of challenges. It is going to be focused towards your work, your job. It could be trying to address the obstacles that are coming your way, and which is okay because somewhere or the other, your fourth house is getting such an impact and then multiple aspects into your 10th house as well. Why do I say that? Ketu is already present there. Sun and Saturn will get into it in the second half. Saturn will be there on 29th of March, while Sun will get into the fourth house from 14th of March. Rahu, Venus, and Mercury, all of them are already giving an aspect, and so is Jupiter and Mars. So you see, almost everybody is giving an aspect to the 10th, which means your karma, your job, your profession, everything becomes hyper focused during the month of March and onwards as well to a certain extent. I will not be surprised, Sagittarius, if a enormous amount of energy of yours is going in terms of addressing the problems that you're facing, and it could be very well work related. Please understand that the debilitation of Mercury in the fourth house, being the lord of your 10th as well as 7th, is not an easy one. It is the lowest point for Mercury in terms of its directional strength as well. And now the debilitation and later the retrogression is not at all a great thing, even though he's getting an age bhanga. But he's still giving an exalted aspect to your 10th house. I will not be surprised, Sagis, if you were spending enormous amount of time to overcome the problems at your workplace. There's also a possibility that there could be certain hiccups, certain challenges that you could be facing with respect to your marital bliss, with respect to your partnerships, with respect to your connections, both from a personal as well as a professional standpoint. Now, those connections, those partnerships could be in any sphere, but they are not giving you absolute mental peace. And it is okay because you are putting in a lot of effort fighting that imbalance at this point in time, and it is going to bear fruit. Niche Bhanga is existing for this Mercury. Venus is exalted, even though it is retrograded. It's like the revving up of the engine. It's taking time, but he's gonna deliver the results, the sweet outcome that you anticipate somewhat in time. Yes, Venus's aspect is also debilitated into the 10th, but I'm not too worried because it's more with respect to your efforts, especially your Lagna Lord, Jupiter sitting into the sixth house, giving an aspect, is going to give some sort of a positive connotation. And thereby, I'm saying, folks, do not drop the ball. Do not drop your ammunition if you are facing a lot of heat at this point in time. The reason I say that is somewhere or the other, these planets are promising a comeback for you. It's a matter of patience, perseverance, persistence that you have to bring to the table. Now, you might lose focus. You might want to probably change jobs, pick something else. And that is where you need to be careful because Saturn is also currently in combustion. Decision making, especially with respect to your career, could be tricky. But if matters are related to anything which is more personal in nature, especially with respect to your relationships, with respect to your marital relationship, with respect to your marriage partner, I would want you to practice more caution. It is going to be extremely important for you to understand that things are turbulent for the meantime, but they will change. Jupiter is giving a positive aspect to the 10th. You are also having Saturn, which is the lord of your second house and third house, currently in debilitation in your third itself. Somewhere or the other, there will be a sense of lethargy. You will feel tired. You would feel like giving up. But these are the testing times. These are the times where you'll have to fight back. So you could feel low of energy. You could also feel that you're not getting enough support, probably from your family. Savings might not be at your best. Probably your own food habits are not to your best. But the good point is that Jupiter's presence in the sixth, and even though Venus is retrograded, you will take care of your physical health. Not too worried on that regard for you, Sagis. That is a positive thing that is coming out for me. The other bit that I see is that even with a combusted Saturn, the presence of Sun in conjunction is almost forming a Raj Yoga for you, especially in the first half of the month when Sun will be giving an aspect back to your ninth house. It's a positive thing because you will realize that you tearing through that lethargy, fighting against all the obstacles, you will find some support from your superiors, from your leadership. Your luck could also support you at times, turbulent times. Fortune favors the brave, they say, and that is exactly what the sun is promising. I would want you, though, to be taking care of your father's health as well as your mother's health, thanks to all these planets present in your fourth house and the situation of Mercury there. But you see, your father could also be blessing you. If you have any areas where you feel loss of ideas, just bouncing off ideas with anybody in your family, your father, your mother, your spouse, may not be a bad choice at all, folks. Just bounce off ideas with them, get a feedback, get some understanding as to what is the best thing that you can do at this point in time. Once Sun moves into the fourth house, it is not one of the most amazing directional strength for it to have. And it may not also be a convenient period for your emotional well being. You could feel a lot of turmoil during that phase because that's exactly when Mercury will also be getting into retrograde, and that will be a tricky point. So, the second half of the month could need a lot of emotional fight back, mental fight back from you, both from a Lagna as well as moon sign. Guys, if you're watching, it is going to have a very similar impact for you. So, that is a little tricky situation to be in. You have to also understand that Rahu is going to amplify things. So, you might have this tendency of imagining things to be too wild when compared to how they actually are. And that is where you need to strike that balance. You need to find that answer yourself. And Jupiter's strength, which is the lord of your fourth house, and your is going to be extremely important because he is going to give you that strength. He is going to tell you to be calm, to get the advice from somebody. A lot of times you might find that advice within yourself, especially if you are leaning towards meditation, if you're leaning towards some time in isolation. It's going to be an excellent remedy for you, folks. Remember, your Mars, which is also the lord of your 12th, is sitting in it. It's going to be excellent active, sitting in 7th, I'm sorry. It's going to be an excellent remedy for you to just find the time in isolation and figure out, gather your thoughts, do some introspection, retrospection, as well as to how you've acted in the last few weeks and what you need to do better in the course of this month. But this Jupiter is also giving an aspect to your 12th. All these obstacles, known and unknown to you, you will have the tenacity, you will have the self belief to fight it as long as you are maintaining your principles, you're maintaining your rhythm, you're maintaining your ultimate objective. Now, this Jupiter is also giving a debilitated aspect to your second house, which is still okay. I'm not too worried because it is the ninth aspect of Jupiter. So, yes, I see some level of diminishing of savings, some sort of expenses expanding for you. And thereby, one of the remedies would be to go ahead and make certain kind of contributions, donations, charitable activities during the course of March. It's an excellent thing that you might want to pick up. Saturn is also combusted, and that is why I'm referring to that diminishing into the second house aspects. But as we move ahead, we see Venus's aspect, though is debilitated, is still a positive one. You will continue to put efforts at workplace with charm. I would want you to be patient during this time. Do not be too aggressive, especially doing any kind of an activity. Be it at work, at home, whatever. Do not get frustrated while doing things because that is going to just add to that mental agony. And the fact that you've come to this video, watching this channel, this video right now, you want to prepare. So you have to figure out how you maintain that calm through the course of the month. Mars is the lord of your fifth house sitting in your seventh. He is also the lord of your 12th sitting in your seventh. Now, of course, decent placement from a romance perspective if you're not married. But if you're married, you've got to be watchful in terms of how you're expressing. I hope you do not download all your frustration from a fourth house perspective on your spouse and make things difficult for them as well. That is not exactly needed. So please be cautious. You'll have to refrain from doing that, or else it can bring in a lot of challenges there. Getting your spouse's advice, just talking them with them very openly and getting their perspective as to how you can tackle all these things that are happening in your life, it's a good choice. In fact, if you're in a relationship or even if you have kids, getting a feedback from your kids as well, just doing some effort in that direction may not be a bad thing. Their perspective, your romantic partner, his or her perspective towards what is happening to your life and how you're feeling challenged, it may be a good idea to get a perspective and see that what they recommend and how you act upon it. It's a good period from romance perspective. This Mars is also giving an aspect towards your 10th. So if you are a person who is still pursuing some sort of an education, a student watching this video, it's a good period for you in terms of putting in all the more hard work. Success with respect to competition is promised for you. So it's a very good period for you folks in the month of March. Do not slack. There will be some sense of lethargy. You might want to take some break, get some rest. But I think this is time you have to continue to push forward. This Mars is giving that energetic aspect to your Lagna, but an exalted aspect to your second house, which is such a relief because Saturn's combustion and debilitated aspect of Jupiter were a little bit tricky, but this Mars will ensure that you are watchful with respect to your savings, with respect to your money in the bank balance that you maintain. But maintain proper communication at home front as well. You've got to be very poised when it comes to expressing yourself because it is highly probable that in all this commotion and all the frustration that is mounting in your head, you might utter something which you do not mean to. I've called this out in the Mars and all the 12 house videos as well, which is a risk that happens when Mars is coming into the seventh. So there is a high chance that you don't mean to antagonize anybody, you don't mean to hurt anyone, but you might just utter out something which is painful. Please be watchful in that. Please also be watchful with respect to your sweet tooth. You might have tendencies to eat a lot of sweets for some reason during the course of this month. Maybe you might want to do some kind of over munching out of stress. Try and avoid that because it might not be fruitful. Hitting the gym and exercising is definitely going to be positive activity. All in all, I think it's going to be a month of mixed bag activities with so many planets coming into the sign of Pisces. It's going to be exciting as to what we are going to see transpire the next few weeks in the next couple of months to follow. But if you've enjoyed this video, then please go ahead and smash that like button. If you want to watch the Saturn transit video, I want you to leave down a comment and tell me, Dave, please prepare a Saturn video as well. And please subscribe to Devastrology. Om Namah Shivaya.